district began discussing yesterday plans for East Blos 3. What do you feel about a third East Blos? And if you are for a third East Blos, what would your priorities be?
Well, I think that we're going to need an East Blos 3. In fact, in my conversation with Dr. Lockerbie, and then during that time it was Hugh Golson as president of the school board, I told them that this probably had to be a 3-phase when we were going into East Blos 1, because if you look at it now, the physical plants at Groves and at Jenkins need to be redone. They need to be brought up to standards. I think East Blos 3 should be the end of it, though. I think we can cover everything that we have neglected to do in the last 50 years. And see, that's how we got into this. We built schools, but then we neglected to maintain them at top priority. And so that's what caused us to be in the conditions we're in. There are some other schools, some elementary schools, that we can either redo or relocate to another location because they're boxed in. You know, folks build around schools and then there's no room for expansion, and we find ourselves needing that expansion. So I'm all for East Blos 3. If I'm president of the board, which I feel I will be, or not, I think East Blos 3 should still come on the table.
Okay. And Ms. Burr?
Well, I also agree that East Blos 3 is an inevitability. We have about 800 new students coming into the system every year. We have to have buildings to put them in. The real focus for us now, before we get to that point, needs to be managing the funds that we have well now, because East Blos is something that voters decide whether or not they want to fund. And if we aren't managing the money well now, then they're not going to have the confidence in us to continue to do that, and so they may not approve it. We also need to make sure that we're focused on using that money wisely. Right now, unfortunately, it seems like we have work order change after work order change, and there doesn't seem to be a long-range plan for what we're going to do. So money gets put into schools that are falling apart when we know in a few years they're going to be scrapped and a new school's going to be built. Or sometimes we take and fund portables and temporary buildings in a school that's overflowing when not very far away you have a school that's at half capacity. So I think we need to be more careful about how we spend the funds we have right now and have a long-range plan. But definitely with the growth we are seeing, East Blos 3 is inevitable.